Okay, class. So I have just read Peter and the Wolf the first time through. And now that you've heard it one time, I want you each to split into teams. So you're going to be in teams of two. Okay. I am going to read the text again. For right now, I'll just read one of the paragraphs. And you're going to listen for the verbs. Remember, verbs is what we're talking about today. And verbs are the action words, what the characters are doing in the story, okay? Remember, you've already heard it once, so you kind of have a good idea of what the story is about. Now, instead of focusing on what's happening in the story, really, you're going to focus on what they're doing in the story. So I'm going to read back this paragraph very slowly, and you listen for the verbs, and then we're going to go ahead and talk about them, okay? So with your team, you can have a partner to work with. So just go ahead and listen, okay? And make sure you're writing them down. Okay. While the wolf was distracted by the flapping, flittering bird, Peter tied the rope into a noose and lowered it from the tree, catching the wolf by the tail. Okay, I'll give you a minute just to write it down. Let me read it one more time. While the wolf was distracted by the flapping, flittering bird, Peter tied the rope into a noose and lowered it from the tree, catching the wolf by the tail. Okay, the next sentence is, Peter quickly tied the other end of the rope to the tree, and try as he might, the more the wolf struggled to get free, the tighter the noose became. Again, Peter quickly tied the other end of the rope to the tree, and try as he might, the more the wolf struggled to get free, the tighter the noose became. About that time, some hunters who had been tracking the wolf came out of the forest ready to shoot. "You don't need to shoot," Peter cried up from the tree. I'll read it again. About that time, some hunters who had been tracking the wolf came out of the forest ready to shoot. "You don't need to shoot," Peter cried up from the tree. "The little bird and I have already caught the wolf. Now help us take him to the zoo." "The little bird and I have already caught the wolf. Now help us take him to the zoo." And so they went, marching as if in parade, with Peter in front and the huntsman with the wolf behind. Okay, so that's one paragraph. Now you and your partner have had a chance to write down the words together. So now you could talk about it just to finish it up. But right now we are going to, I'm going to read it back one more time, and you're going to tell me where the verbs are, okay? So let me start with the first paragraph that we read. While the wolf was distracted by the flapping, flittering bird, Peter tied the rope into a noose and lowered it from the tree, catching the wolf by the tail. Okay, so the verbs in this sentence are flapping, flittering, right? So what does that mean, flapping and flittering? So they're talking about a bird. Remember, the bird is the subject, and so flapping and flittering is what the bird is doing. So what does that mean? It means that he's flying with his wings. He's flapping his wings. Okay, and then the next part says, Peter tied the rope into a noose and lowered it from the tree. So there are two verbs there. Peter tied, because that's what Peter was doing. What did he do? He tied the rope into a noose and lowered it from the tree. So he lowered the rope all the way down. And the next part says, when he lowered the rope, it caught the wolf by the tail. So it was catching the wolf by the tail. Okay, so he tied the rope into a noose, which is like a circle, and he lowered it from the tree. That's the next verb, lowered it from the tree, catching the wolf by the tail. So catching is what happened to the wolf. He caught the wolf. Okay, the next sentence says, Peter quickly tied the other end of the rope to the tree. And try as he might, the more the wolf struggled to get free, the tighter the noose became. So Peter quickly tied the other end of the rope. So he tied one end and caught the wolf by it, and then he tied the other end to the tree to make sure that the wolf stayed there. Okay, and then the wolf struggled to get free. So struggled is a verb that we use to mean that he was trying really hard to get away, but he just couldn't. He couldn't get away. Okay, so good job. Now that you have the hang of that, you guys can go ahead and finish the rest of the story together and find all the verbs. And then we're going to talk about it. And then we'll move on to the next activity. So go ahead and finish that activity up and make sure you get all the verbs down because we're going to need to talk about them. So you're going to work with a partner to write all the verbs down.